When I look back at some of the earliest videos from my YouTube channel, I struggled with lighting and exposure. Some videos were too dark, some had too much contrast, and I felt like I was never able to get the results that I wanted. I kept wondering, what is it that professional filmmakers and cinematographers do? Because if you're anything like me, I have driven my poor family crazy for years, pausing television shows and movies just to take a closer look at beautiful cinematography. For example, this shot from The Crown on Netflix, and then this shot from one of my favorite series, The Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon Prime. How are shots like these even created? Well, obviously with lots of money, expensive equipment, and a bunch of talented people behind the scenes. But today, I'm going to introduce you to an affordable tool used by professional cinematographers that you can use as well to help improve lighting and exposure in your videos. How's it going, everyone? My name is Todd Dominey. I usually make videos here on YouTube about photography, but today's video is about video and how to use false color to improve the lighting in your videos. To explain how false color works, let's go back and take a look at one of those example images, because once you understand a little bit more about what it is that a cinematographer does when they are creating the lighting for a scene, then it's simply a matter of reverse engineering their process and using the resources that you have to achieve similar results through false color. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop. Now, if you have never seen Marvelous Miss Maisel before, this is a period show, which is why she's dressed the way that she is, and then the reason why she's using a public telephone for that matter. What I find so fascinating about this scene is the fact that, from a photography perspective, you will know if you ever try to capture images at night, it's really hard to get like this even tonality, these even luminosity values that you see from the left to the right across the screen, because everything is perfectly balanced and you're able to see detail, you're able to see texture in all these areas of the scene, both with her and the phone booth over here as well, but then throughout all the shadows and the midtones. So let's take a closer look at what's happening here from a quantitative perspective. And to do this, I'm going to use a Mac utility called the Classic Color Meter. This is it's pretty cheap. I think it's like $2 or $3. But the thing I love so much about this color meter compared to the one built in is the fact that it can display HSV and HSL values. So you're able to get even more information than what the built-in color picker provides. So if we start over here with the phone booth on the left, now there's this beautiful, warm, kind of yellowy light that's coming out of the interior of this phone booth. And you can see and I'll bring it over here so you can see it. If we just, inspect this area here, you can see that the brightness is 86, 87, 85, somewhere in the mid 80s. And that's on a scale of 0 to 100, with 0 representing black and white representing 100. So it's landing right in a place where you're able to see all of the details still in this bright area. It's not blown out. You're able to see all the texture and all the little, bits of, kind of like weathered metal that's inside of this box here. And then on the side of her face over here, you can see that the luminosity values are right around 15, 17, 18, somewhere in that region. The front of her coat here is like, in the mid 20s. And then if we go into the darkest shadows, like this region back here in the image, you can see that it never reaches pure black, right? I mean, it's around 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that region. So there's not a black pixel actually anywhere in this image if you go through it. The lowest value you will find is somewhere around 6 or 7. Now, some other little details you will notice is the fact that there is this hair light back here on the back side of her hat. I mean, it almost looks like this has been drawn on or painted on or something, because it's so tight and narrow, like around the top of the hat. And then you have a little bit of illumination here on the back of her hair, and then obviously down the side of her shoulder as well. And what this is doing is that it is, pushing her in the foreground out from this dark background, because had there not been this light here separating her and giving some depth to the scene, then she would just blend directly into the background. And that's, obviously not what they want. So they have this really nice hair light here as well. So wouldn't it be awesome if the same information I just demonstrated in Photoshop could be seen before you record video? So you're able to see your luminosity values in your shot in real time before pressing the record button? That's the question I kept asking myself. And at first it just seemed like wishful thinking, until the day I learned about false color. False color is a preview mode, typically included in external HDMI monitors. You simply plug the monitor into the video out port on your camera, and then the preview image moves from the back of your camera to the monitor. To demonstrate false color, I'm using the AndyCine A6 Plus. Now, you don't have to use this particular monitor, for there are other HDMI monitors out there that also have false color modes. This just happens to be the monitor that I use. To turn on false color on the AndyCine A6 Plus, you just swipe up from the bottom of the screen and then turn on false color mode in the menu. Now, your video is going to look completely insane. It's going to look like some old psychedelic 60s Peter Max painting or something. But rest assured, this isn't changing how your video is being recorded. Your video file is perfectly fine. It will still look normal. The only thing that's changing here is that we're changing the preview image on the monitor. So when the monitor is in false color mode, what's happening here is that the monitor is calculating how bright or dark each pixel is in your image, just like we did before in Photoshop. And then, so you're able to see those luminosity values, it applies color. You can tell which colors are which by referring to this IRE scale at the bottom of the screen, which goes from magenta, representing pure black at one end, to red, representing pure white at the other. And then in between black and white, you have your highlights, your midtones, and your shadows represented by different colors as well. So with this information, you now know how bright or dark each pixel is in your shot. So the next step is just simply changing the lighting or your camera exposure to help move those luminosity values to where they need to be on the IRE scale. For example, Caucasian skin tone like mine should typically land on the IRE scale somewhere between 55 and 65 IRE. What I typically do when using false color to create a video like this one is adjust my key light until I start to see some shades of pink here on this side of my face. And then I brighten the key light just a little bit more so that this side of my face over here displays as light gray on the monitor. When figuring out your lighting values using false color, you could either start with your subject and get the skin tones right there first, and then focus on other lights in your scene, or you could reverse that process and you could start with the room first to create a baseline and then gradually layer on more lighting until reaching your final key light on your subject. To be even more exact, you can place an 18% gray card like this one in your scene and then adjust your lighting and camera exposure until the IRE value that is displayed for this card in false color is somewhere between 35 and 40. Then you know that your image has been properly exposed. The beauty of false color is that you have a live preview of what your camera is seeing before shooting any video. So you can fix problems in camera. You can actually watch in real time how luminosity values change as you move lights around, as you raise or lower their relative brightness, or change the ISO and aperture on your camera. If you're looking for creative inspiration for your lighting, I'd recommend doing exactly what I did earlier in this video. Take screenshots of your favorite movies, open up those images inside of Photoshop or whatever photo editor you're using, and then inspect the luminosity values throughout the scene. Inspect the highlights, inspect the shadows, inspect the midtones, and try to reverse engineer what it is that the cinematographer did when creating that film in order to get a better understanding of how to adjust the lighting in your setup and your camera exposure as well to get the kind of look and feel that you're after with your video. And false color, in my opinion, is the key to all of that. It is the means through which you know in real time what it is you need to do in order to get the shot you're looking for. To see which monitor I'm using and other gear for video, audio, and lighting, check out the video description below. There's a link down there to my kit where I go through everything that there is to know about all of the different pieces of equipment that I use to create videos here on YouTube, in addition to gear that I use when I'm out in the field doing landscape photography work as well, if that is something of interest to you. By the way, before I go, I just want to say thank you and welcome to anyone who recently subscribed to my channel. I recently broke through the 5,000 subscriber level, which, I mean, I'm excited by. I mean, my kids do a very good job of reminding me that, you know, I don't have anywhere near the number of subscribers of, you know, other people that they like to watch. But, you know, I mean, it's something at the end of the day, especially when you start at zero and you kind of feel like you're climbing out of a very deep hole. But nonetheless, I mean, I'm excited and I just want to say thank you. If you're one of the people who recently subscribed, welcome to this channel, and feel free to participate. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to contact me as well. If you have any questions, you will also find my contact information in the video description. That's it for me, everyone. I hope you're doing well during this challenging time. I will see you next week.